Hi guys, and happy Monday. I am on my way to class right now in the pouring rain. I already attempted to make 2 other videos of this in the pouring rain because I wanted to switch up my scenery for once. So I stood outside and I got rained on for nothing because I am unsatisfied with both of those videos explaining the song 2+2. As you all know, we, Frantic endeavor, released our first single Saturday. And we are so excited that finally happened. We have been waiting and waiting, and so have our people who listen to our music. They've been waiting and waiting too. But I just wanted to also pause right here and take the time to thank you all for watching my videos, for commenting and sharing and liking and supporting me over and over again. And every Monday I post a new video and you guys are always there to watch it, and that means so much to me. That I would post those videos anyway, but knowing that people actually wait for Monday to roll around again so they can see another song cover of me singing, for them to appreciate, for them to listen to, it really means a lot, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now that I've got that out of the way, I want to further elaborate on the song 2+2. And just kind of talk about it, tell you guys why I wrote it, how it came to be, and what I think about it. So, without further ado, don't worry, I'm being very safe right now. I am not really looking at the camera, and I have my headlights on because it's raining, and I have my wipers on because it's raining. So if you guys can hear it, I'm sorry. But the song 2+2, without getting too distracted, it came about because I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was having a really hard time with this person because whenever I had the chance to speak my mind, tell them what I thought, tell them my opinion on the matter, or explain, they wouldn't listen. And if they were doing a really bad job of showing that they were, because they wouldn't acknowledge anything that I said, and if they did acknowledge it, they would just tell me why I'm wrong or that I'm wrong. And then they would further elaborate on their own perspective, their own view, their own opinion. And they would just talk and talk and talk and talk. And I felt like eventually like I was in a lecture, and that it wasn't a conversation between 2 people sharing ideas and information with each other. And when that happens, it's really frustrating because they just don't want to listen to you because they already think they found the right answer. They already think they're right. They're already stuck in their ways. They're already a one-track mind, and unless they somehow prove to you that they are right and you are wrong, they won't stop and they won't give up. And it just keeps going and going, and you'll have no chance to speak. You'll have no chance to share your ideas, and at that point, it's exhausting. You don't even want to share your ideas with that person. And that's what happened to me. For one of the first times ever, I ended up not even being able to complete that conversation. Usually, I've had many conversations with people talking about ideas, talking about facts, talking about intellectual concepts, and I've always been able to do it. Both sides have always been open, both sides have always listened, but this time, it wasn't working at all. It just wasn't that at all. And that's where I got my first verse from. Because this person ended up calling me beautiful, but then ended that sentence by saying, but you don't know how to have an intellectual conversation. And that really stung. That hurt. My pride, I guess, was also hurt. I'm not scared to admit that. And that's just really rude to tell somebody. That's the same thing as saying, you're pretty, but you're dumb. And that's where I got the opening line of my song. Call me pretty, but call me dumb. Why even say that when making fun? Because I felt very made fun of. I felt mocked. I felt ignored and not listened to. It was awful. And when I get frustrated or hurt, often what I do is I go write a song instead. That's my outlet. And it's also my way of getting people to listen to me when I know otherwise they won't. So that introduces the song and how I start it, and then it goes into the chorus where it talks about 2 plus 2 equals 4. Now I got this because I acknowledge that there are more than one solution to solving a problem. And that's a very basic example to use 2 plus 2 equals 4, because you can also get 4 by subtracting 2 from 6. And it's just easy to explain that you can always reach a solution more than one way. And one way might be easier to one person, whereas the other way might come more naturally to somebody else. But you both end up in the same place. You both come to a solution. The problem with some people is they think the only way you should do something is their way, or the way they've grown up thinking, or the way they were raised, or they hold firmly to their beliefs and morals and traditions, which is good. I can respect that. But when you get to the point where you can't even listen to somebody else and maybe acknowledge the possibility that you're wrong or you're right, or they're right, or vice versa, then you have a problem, because then you're getting into the territory of narrow-mindedness, and that is very dangerous, because then you're stuck in one line of sight, as it says in my song, and you fail to acknowledge that, you know, life just isn't black and white. There's a lot of gray area, there's a lot of color, there's a lot to see if you just view the world in a different light. So I think that basically sums up the chorus. I'm just kind of going through the lyrics in my head to make sure I'm not missing anything, because the other 2 times I made this video, I felt very rushed, and I was being rained on, and I just needed to leave for school. And so I didn't take the time to really think about my lyrics, and I kept missing over some. Because believe it or not, even though it is my own song and I wrote it and I've been singing it for a year and a half now, I have to try to remember the lyrics sometimes. I know, shame on me. But the second verse, let's go ahead and get into that. It elaborates on the fact that, you know, those same people who will call you pretty then basically call you dumb, they will also go about it by making you feel inferior. They might call you young, naive, they might call you immature because you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know how to approach this. And that's another way for them to feel better about themselves, and it's their sense of winning. If they're just in it to win and not share ideas, and they're just in it to make you lose and to prove you wrong and to show you that yet again they are right, and why they're right, and why you should listen, and why you should think it this way instead. It's just another way people tend to approach things, and that's another thing that happened to me that night when I was having that conversation. And then it gets into the bridge eventually, where it talks about, you know, distant minds, lost time, separate lives, and that is basically saying that when people are on two different total wavelengths, it's harder to connect, it's harder to understand each other. But it's not impossible, it's really not. But with this particular person, I couldn't do it. And I tried and I tried and I tried, and I'm sure the other person did too, but we just couldn't reach resolve. We couldn't reach a mutual understanding. We couldn't, well, I could agree to disagree, but even after I did that, the other person just kept pressing on and on and on about why they're right, even though I told them politely, okay, you are entitled to think that, but I'm sorry, but actually I'm not sorry, but that's just not what I think. But I understand why you might think that way, and that's okay. We just have two total different views, and that comes from different walks of life, that comes from education, that comes from background, that comes from who you know, that comes from what you read, what movies you watch, that comes from everything you absorb. And that's how you grow to develop your own thoughts and opinions. So that's what the bridge is basically talking about, and it just, the rest of the song elaborates on the fact that, you know, just don't get stuck in one way of thinking. It encourages people to try to think outside the box, try to acknowledge that maybe you're wrong, try to think about the other person's perspective, and try to put yourself in their own shoes if you can. And you know, that's the reason a lot of people tend to fight, because a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people fail to do that. A lot of people don't care to do that. And then they just go about their lives misunderstanding people and getting into arguments when they should just be discussions, and you can always agree to disagree. You don't have to shove something down someone's throat and tell them why you're right. Maybe you're wrong. Hell, maybe I'm wrong. And that's okay. Because at least I'm willing to grow from what other people say, and I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to understand. And that's the whole point of the song, is to encourage people to do that. And to also call out those people who treated me like that person did. Now, I have a plot twist. So, the person that influenced this song for me to write it is actually my boyfriend. And I don't think he knows that either, but now he will if he watches this video. That was before we started dating. That was when we first started talking. And it was one of our first conversations we had. And that's basically what happened. But you see how it worked out? Now I'm dating him. And now I can see how I was wrong in certain ways. And since then, we've had the same conversation again. I'm getting coffee, so we've had the same conversation again, and we were able to reach a resolve.
Welcome to Mary Liz. How can I help you?
Hi, I just want a medium raspberry mocha blast, please.
All right, cream and sugar.
Yes, can you melt the sugar?
Melt the sugar.
Yes, please.
And would you like some cream on top?
That'd be great.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I just got my coffee. I'm obsessed with Mary Lou's, guys. This isn't me being sponsored. I wish I was. But it is so great. I've tried all of their flavors within like a week. So yeah. But yeah, so that just goes to show that try again. And the next time we tried to have that conversation, it worked out. And we were able to approach it in a more open way, both of us. Because I know that I was at fault in certain ways too. But yeah, there's a short story of why I wrote that song, and you get to see a glimpse into my life when I'm driving, and you know what kind of coffee I order now, and how I am. I drive through windows. So again, happy Monday. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have all the links in the description to all my band's social media. So if you would just follow those if you don't already. And that's a good way to just keep up to date and keep track of what we're up to. Because we do have our EP release show coming up on the 26th, and I will also post tickets to that in the link. And we're totally excited to just show you guys even more of our music, and so that I can also explain to you the inspirations of all the other songs too. Alright, so this video is way too long. I have landed on the lucky number 13. I'm not going to edit it because I'm way too lazy, and I don't do that. You guys know I don't edit my videos. It's raw footage and one take. So that's what I'm just going to do. Maybe someday you'll actually get quality videos, but until then, you're going to get a slanted car video recorded on my phone. Alright guys, have a lovely day, and I love you all. Happy Monday.